Hey, English learners! Welcome back to English You Never Learned.
The podcast where we help you speak English confidently, naturally, and without overthinking. I'm Leo.
And I'm Emma. Today, we're diving into a topic that is often a game changer for many learners.
If you've been studying English for a while, you've probably heard one piece of advice again and again. Memorize the grammar rules.
But what if that's not the best way to learn English?
Exactly. Today, we're going to talk about how to learn English without focusing too much on grammar rules.
That's right. The truth is, most native speakers don't sit down and memorize grammar rules. They just speak the language.
So, we'll share with you strategies that help you learn English naturally, just like a native speaker would, without stressing over every grammar detail.
And don't worry, we're not saying grammar isn't important. It's just that focusing on it too much can slow you down and make speaking more difficult.
Before we start, quick favor. If you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's tired of memorizing grammar rules.
Especially the friend who's memorized 10 pages of grammar rules but still feels nervous when speaking.
Okay, let's start. Emma, why do you think so many learners focus so much on grammar?
I think it's because grammar feels like the official way to learn English. It seems structured, and a lot of textbooks focus on it.
Yes, and it gives you something concrete to work with. Grammar rules feel like a safety net.
But here's the problem. When you focus only on grammar, you start to overthink everything you say.
Yes, you might know how to say, I am going to the store, but you hesitate when it's time to say, I'm going, or I went, or I will go.
Exactly. You freeze because your brain is processing grammar rules instead of just focusing on communication.
So, how can we avoid that? How can we focus on speaking naturally without memorizing rules?
The key is to start using English in context through listening, speaking, and using real-life examples, and focus on patterns instead of rules.
Right. It's like learning to play an instrument. You don't memorize music theory before you play. You start by listening. Then you practice playing simple tunes, and the theory comes along the way.
Exactly. You build your language by hearing it and using it. The more you speak, the more you understand patterns.
And that's what we want to teach today. How to pick up English naturally, just like you'd pick up your first language.
Let's start with one simple technique: listening practice.
Listening is a huge part of learning English without memorizing rules. If you focus on listening to native speakers, whether it's podcasts, movies, TV shows, or conversations, you start to hear the rhythm of English, and you begin to understand how sentences are formed.
Yes, and as you listen, don't focus on individual words or phrases. Instead, try to listen for the overall flow of the language. How do native speakers connect sentences? What's the rhythm? How do they stress certain words?
For example, when you listen to a sentence like, I'm going to the store, pay attention to how it sounds in real life. It might sound like, I'm gonna the store, or I'm going to the store. The grammar rules aren't important in that moment.
Right, you're not thinking about the rules. You're just noticing how English sounds.
Exactly. And that brings us to the second strategy, shadowing.
Shadowing is a technique where you listen to a sentence, then immediately repeat it out loud, just like you hear it.
It's like copying a native speaker, but without overthinking it. You don't need to pause the audio to analyze every word. You just repeat it as you hear it.
For example, listen to a short sentence. She's going to work now. Then immediately repeat, she's going to work now.
The key is to match the rhythm and intonation. It's not about perfect grammar. It's about getting comfortable with how the language sounds.
And the more you do this, the more you'll notice that your speaking flows better. The grammar just starts to make sense naturally because you're repeating what you hear.
And you know what's amazing? Shadowing works because you're not just focusing on words. You're focusing on communication, which is really the most important part of learning any language.
That's true. You're hearing how people communicate ideas, not how they follow grammar rules.
And the great thing is, when you use shadowing, you can do it with any content, songs, podcasts, YouTube videos, or even movies. Just pick something you enjoy.
Now, Let's talk about a third technique. Practice through conversation.
This one's huge. You can read all the grammar books you want, but nothing compares to actual conversations. That's where you get to practice putting your English into use.
Yes. Conversations help you practice real-time communication, and you don't have to worry about making mistakes, just speak. It's better to make mistakes than to stay quiet.
Exactly. If you're always worried about saying something wrong, you'll never actually practice speaking. Mistakes are part of learning.
And in conversation, you can hear what people say, pick up on patterns, and then start using those patterns in your own speech.
And it's okay if you don't know everything. You can always say, "Sorry, can you say that again?" Or, "I don't understand that word. Can you explain?"
Yes. And when you ask questions like that, you're practicing real conversation skills. Plus, you get to learn the language as it's used in real life.
And the more you speak, the easier it gets. You'll notice you start making fewer mistakes because your brain is processing patterns, not grammar rules.
Now, let's get into learning through stories.
This is one of my favorite techniques. Learning through stories helps you see how language is used in context.
Right. You hear grammar in action when characters talk to each other, and it helps you remember useful phrases and vocabulary.
The key is not to worry about understanding every word. Instead, focus on the story. When you listen to a story, the context will help you understand the meaning.
For example, if a character says, "I lost my job yesterday," you don't need to worry about the past tense. The context tells you that something happened in the past. You understand it without thinking about the grammar.
Exactly. The story gives you context, and the context helps you understand the grammar naturally.
And you can start reading short stories, listening to audiobooks, or even watching TV shows. Anything that tells a story helps you absorb English in a way that doesn't feel like studying.
Now, let's discuss speaking with confidence.
So, you've been practicing, listening, shadowing, and having conversations. But what if you feel nervous about speaking?
It's totally normal to feel nervous, especially if you're just starting. But confidence comes with practice.
Yes, you don't need to be perfect. You don't need perfect grammar. Just speak and keep practicing. The more you speak, the more confident you'll become.
And here's a tip. If you're nervous, try recording yourself speaking English. It could be about anything, your day, your thoughts, a book you're reading. This helps you hear your own mistakes and also track your progress.
Yes, and once you listen to yourself, you can improve your speaking by noticing patterns. What's difficult? What's easy? What do you still need to work on?
And the more you practice speaking aloud, the more natural it becomes. It's like learning to ride a bike. You might fall a few times, but soon you'll be riding smoothly.
Now, let's talk about learning from mistakes.
Many learners think making mistakes is bad, but it's actually one of the best ways to learn.
Yes. The more you make mistakes, the more you grow. It means you're using the language, and it's the best way to remember.
And guess what? Even native speakers make mistakes in English sometimes. So don't be afraid to try.
Exactly. Mistakes mean you're taking risks, and that's when the real learning happens.
One last tip. Be patient with yourself.
Language learning takes time. Don't expect to speak perfectly overnight.
But if you focus on patterns, practice speaking, and keep exposing yourself to English every day, your progress will be unstoppable.
Now, let's give you a simple action plan.
Step 1. Listen to English daily, whether it's podcasts, TV shows, songs, or audiobooks.
Step 2. Practice speaking with shadowing or by recording yourself.
Step 3. Have conversations with others as often as possible. Don't worry about making mistakes.
Step 4. Read stories or watch videos to see how English is used in real context.
Step 5. Embrace mistakes and use them to improve. Be patient with yourself.
And remember, learning English doesn't have to be stressful. It's a journey, and the more you enjoy the process, the faster you'll get there.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's tired of memorizing grammar rules.
And tell us in the comments what English learning technique works best for you.
This was English You Never Learned with Emma and Leo.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and keep speaking.
Bye.